What's up guys, just from Apple here, and today I'm here to share my initial impressions of the new iPhone 5. So I've had nearly 48 hours to play around with it. I did receive it on September 21st, and I've got some good and bad to share with you guys, and I will be running through this in the video. So first off, let's go through the specs. The iPhone 5 is running an A6 processor, dual core, clocked at just over 1 GHz. It features 1 GB of RAM, and it is running obviously the iOS 6 operating system, which is probably, in my opinion, even a make or break for this device. I have been having quite a few problems with iOS 6, but let's go ahead and run through the hardware first before going into the details of the software. So as you can see, the iPhone 5 now has a 4-inch display, and it has an 1136 by 640 resolution, now giving you an extra row of icons, 5 row of icons. In the beginning it does take a little bit getting used to, like for me. However, in the end, I really like it, and I definitely think it's possibly even a reason that you should upgrade, and also the speed, which I'll go to in a little bit. The screen is probably one of the first thing I noticed. It is much clearer, has 44% better color saturation. So even though the Retina display is really good, the color on these really just pop out, especially because I have the apps such as Flipboard, Netflix. The first apps I saw, the color just really jumped out at me, and I do think it is definitely a great improvement, especially if you're thinking of doing photos and whatnot, to be able to have a nicer screen. So I definitely think that is one of the big reasons to upgrade. Another reason why you should upgrade is the front-facing camera, which is now 720p HD, and if you saw my video test, the video quality on the front is really good compared to the older generation. So definitely think Apple did a good job on that. It is now centered, and one thing that most people noticed first thing when they picked it up is the fact that the device is 18% thinner at just 7.6 millimeters, and it does feel much lighter at 20% lighter, and overall it just feels much better in your hand in terms of the thickness. The screen is still the same width, so you can still access all your icons easy. I think that's what Apple intended, so they didn't want to go too big on the display, but the nice polished edges really give this device really nice beauty. I definitely think the design of this device, even though many may say it's a lot like the iPhone 4, it definitely looks really great, and I'm really happy with it. It does also come in black, which is all black, which I think is cool. However, it does chip and scratch apparently, so I've always been kind of going towards the white one. Taking a look at the back, it now features a raw aluminum back, which is apparently the same metal used in the MacBook unibodies. On the top and the bottom you have a white glass, which is apparently a really strong Gorilla Glass. This is to do your cell signal and also your wireless signals being passed through the back. As you guys know, you saw in the early prototypes, they all look pretty similar. And on the top, the camera overall hasn't really changed. It does feature still 8 megapixels, f2.4 aperture for a good depth of field on a camera. However, the new lens is called a sapphire crystal lens, which is apparently stronger, a little bit clearer. So there is a slight difference in the video quality, however whatnot. There isn't really much of a difference if you're comparing it to the 4S, but if you're stepping up from the 4, there definitely is a big difference. So please stay tuned for my iPhone 4S and 5 video and camera test comparison. Another thing is there also is an upgraded microphone. Apple did add another microphone to this, and it's definitely great for vlogging. It sounds really great. So, just so you guys take a look at the hardware here. On the bottom, we still can't forget the Lightning dock connector. It is a new redesigned dock connector that is 80% smaller than the 30-pin dock connector, which is seen on Apple devices for a very long time. I think it's really small, smaller than I thought at least, and it is now reversible. However, the adapters cost a lot, and so far there aren't any universal docks for it. The speakers are also a little bit louder. Clarity-wise, you could say it's a little bit of a step up, but not much. Here we've got the microphone input. And that's about a quick overview of the hardware. Let's go ahead and take a look at the software. So, like I said, the iPhone 5 is running iOS 6. Let's go ahead and give you guys a look at the operating system. So, as you know, there are 5 rows of icons, and this iPhone does have 4G LTE, as well as a faster Wi-Fi signal of up to 150, which you'll never get. But the speeds are definitely improved, but I think the iOS 6 software has been a huge issue for me to keep me still using my iPhone 4 for now until Apple does release another update. So during the past few days when I was using this, I did have a very inconsistent Wi-Fi signal. I'm actually using an access point, so not many people are on it right now, or at any time actually. It's only my devices. And on my iPhone 4, I get a consistent 18 at almost all times. And on this, I got at its max about 42. However, every time I reset the Wi-Fi, it would work and get a 42. And then after about 10-15 minutes, the signal would not drop, but the speed would significantly increase, and the App Store would take a long time to open or not open at all and say not connected. And the way I discovered this was through Siri, how it was very, very slow on Wi-Fi. But I have to say, when it was working, this iPhone 5 is definitely much snappier. It is 2 times faster than your iPhone 4S in terms of graphics and speed performance, and 4 times faster than the iPhone 4 in terms of graphics and speed performance. So you'll definitely notice that. Games that I've seen to lag on the iPhone 4 did have a much better, really, really smooth performance on the iPhone 5. And apparently touchscreen is also improved. I didn't really notice a difference. I think the previous generation touchscreens were good. But you can just tell that overall this phone is much snappier. For me, I'm still waiting for Apple to fix the Wi-Fi issue, which tend to be pretty common. So I really think that the hardware of this device has a huge potential. It's definitely a very, very great hardware built device, spec built device, and its software has been optimized very, very well. Apple likes to make really good use of the specs, so that's why you see when you're comparing with other flagship phones, the specs don't tend to win for Apple. So I have to say, if you have the iPhone 4S, it isn't really necessary to upgrade it unless you want the extra speed. But if you're on a contract or anything, I don't really recommend upgrading. If your contract happens to end and you had a 4S before, you definitely probably will enjoy this, although there is some getting used to. If you have an iPhone 4, that is still a very, very great phone. However, for me, I do feel that this is a good upgrade as soon as Apple starts to get their crap straight and get all that Wi-Fi stuff fixed. But really, you still do have to consider, as it isn't a huge jump in terms of the software, but the hardware and everything has been overall redesigned, and the overall feel of the device will definitely feel very close, and the experience will overall stay the same. So it's really up to you whether or not you would appreciate the new features. But if you're on an iPhone 3GS, I definitely do recommend that this would be a really big step in terms of the overall speeds, the hardware. Everything will feel completely different in a good way. So that's pretty much it for my initial impression, guys. This is just an overall talk of the hardware and the software of the device and what I think about it from using it for 48 hours. So please let me know your experiences so far. I will be doing a full review. Please request what you'd like to see tested on the iPhone 5. I'll see you guys in my next video. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like button below. If you would like to be notified of future content, please subscribe.